Hey y'all, Nick here, and I am spending a few moments on the rooftop here. I'm in downtown Atlanta, on the top floor of our condo where we're staying. And yeah, just wanted to hop on here and do some reflections. I'm on my way out, finally heading back home. I've been able to get a lot of stuff done here and wrap up some things for my business and for our company, and it has been just an amazing time of rest and restoration and reflection. And so I wanted to come on here and just share a couple of things, some revelations that I've had, some conversations that I've had, and some awareness of somebody posted, I think it's Ty Lewis posted it, but she posted a message yesterday that I thought, oh my God, everybody needs to read this message. And I wish I had another phone, I would read what she said. But essentially she was saying most people right now are frustrated, they're overwhelmed, they're stressed out, they're depressed, and they're dealing with imposter syndrome because you're so focused on what everybody else is doing that you refuse to do what God has told you to do. Hey Latasha, what's up girl? I'm still coming to see you. Still coming to see you. You gotta tell me when I can come when you're not traveling the world. But she put that post up, it's on my page, and she talked about the fact that most people are stressed, frustrated, overwhelmed, depressed. They're dealing with all these different things because they're so focused on looking at what everybody else is doing and following all these strategies that everybody else is teaching, and you're not listening to where God is leading you. All right, you're not listening to where God is leading you. So let me tell you something that I've discovered that is super important in the area of building a business, right? One of the things that you have to have is discernment for what is working best for you and where you're supposed to be going in your life and in your business. Everything that you see, everything that is trending, hey Liz, everything that other people are doing is not always for you, right? It's not always for you. You're going to have a lot of people with a lot of opinions, and a lot of times it might be the total opposite of where you're being led. But if you don't learn to tap into your own internal discernment about what works best for you in your business, you will drown, okay? You will drown. And here's why I say this. Guys, listen, God gives each and every one of us, I know a lot of people, I've been having a lot of great conversations lately with some coaches and different people in different industries. And, you know, we're getting to that age where wisdom is kicking in. You go from your 20s where you want to conquer the world and do all the things to your 30s where you be like, well, I don't like that anymore. And you start really trying to figure out what it is that you really want to do. And then you cross over into your 40s and you start being selective of the one or two things that you want to master, right? And and then you go into your 50s and you just get to the point where it's like you reap your harvest, like you want to be able to reap a harvest. But one of the conversations that I was having with one of these coaches that I work with is the fact that we're at a stage where we're tired of searching for our purpose, and we realize we are the purpose. You just be. Who you be is what you're called to do. Like, there is no slicing and dicing how you're supposed to show up in life. I'm no different in who I do, what I do in business than who I am in my real life. I'm no different if I'm a child of God and I want to walk in the anointing of God. Hey, Donna. I'm no different if I walk in the anointing of what God has called me to do than what I do in my business field. I think we've lived our lives trying to find these dividing lines of who am I supposed to be over here and what am I supposed to do over there. So when I'm a parent, how do I show up? When I'm working at business, how am I supposed to function in my business? If God has called me in some kind of ministry or marketplace ministry, like, how am I supposed to show up for that? And at the end of the day, who you are is what your purpose to be. Like, how you show up, no matter what environment you're in, is the essence of your purpose. There is no dividing line of I'm only in my purpose when I do this one exclusive thing. Who you be is your purpose and who you're called and created to be, right? And so we have to get to this point where we trust our way of being. We trust who we are. We trust how we're gifted. We trust the vision that we have. God has not planted not one person on this earth without some form of a vision. You have a vision for your life. There is something, and y'all let me know if y'all can still hear me because this alarm tried to go off. I don't know if it cut me out. I gotta go catch a plane. Is the alarm still? Can y'all hear me? And my thing is delayed. Did it go quiet? Can y'all hear me? Yes, no, maybe so. Can y'all hear me now? Yes? Okay, cool. Had to turn these alarms off. But that's the reality. So in essence of that, when you know who you be is your purpose. It's who you're called. It's how you're called to show up. You gotta trust the vision that you have for where you're led to go. So for all my business owners, all the entrepreneurs out there where you're building something, here's the reality. You were inspired to create what you're creating. You had a vision and an idea where you wanted it to go when you first launched it, when you started it. You had some specific connection to what you were called to produce. What tends to happen is we innately have this vision to see something, but then we start comparing. And then we start looking. Doesn't mean you don't need strategy, you don't need guidance, you don't need specific things that you are supposed to do to build your business. What it does mean though is always keep the vision on the forefront of what has inspired you and do not deviate from what's in alignment from what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? Don't deviate for why you are doing what you are doing, because you can easily get into different influences that have a different inspiration for what it is that they do, right? So there's people that I'm surrounded by that only do stuff for the money, right? There's people who I've been connected to. I've been in a lot of different businesses, and when you get into them green rooms, you can see like, they don't really care about people. They're just thinking about how this is like, especially in the network marketing industry, they're just trying to figure out how to pull more money out of people's pockets. And for me, it was like, business is my ministry. I don't play that. I'm here to help elevate people to where God has called them to be. So I am cutting ties from the level of influence or connection or guidance that is coming from those that don't have a similar vision or values as I do, right? And so it was the ability to sustain and stay anchored in your values and in your vision for where you're called to be. What we have to do is, what you're called to do, you got to stay connected to that vision. You got to stay connected and have that discernment of God. Which way do you want me to go? And let me tell you why I say this. I've been in the industry of building online businesses since 2007, right? So I think it's like 15 years now, right? And over the years, you've seen a lot of trends and a lot of things happening. And over the last year, I've been working a lot with different coaching clients and things like that. And you realize there was a system that we all worked and got used to that it ain't working like it used to, right? It's like you can see that, there's a disconnect in the formula that we all have been told. There's a disconnect from the consumer standpoint where they're not as responsive. And so one of the things that I've learned is to pray my way through my business. And it's like, okay, God, what do I need to do in this season to serve my market? Where is it that you've called me to go? And y'all, the stuff that he's told me to do is in the reality of the trends of the market is old school. It's old school. It's not the hot and popping trends that people are running ads to and doing stuff, but it works. It works. And so when I started getting my coaching clients to implement these strategies, they started getting results. But the reality is they were getting results from something that is the complete opposite of what everybody else was saying. So there was some hesitation there, like, is this really gonna work for me? Should I be doing this? And it's like, listen, trust me on this, because while everybody else is following the crowd and doing what used to work, I'm gonna show you what you need to do that the client cares about right now, that the client is seeking right now, and that is personal touch and connection. So here's the thing. I've been teaching my clients to do this thing that is the complete opposite of the trend. And then I go and I watch this podcast the other day. And this podcast was called The $20 Million Blueprint. How to build a $20 million business, I think in like 3 years, right? So I posted it on my page. I watched this podcast, y'all, 5 times. 5 times. The podcast is so freaking amazing. When I tell y'all dude gives the blueprint, he gives the blueprint. He currently has a company valuation is at $45 million or something like that. Young dude, 31 years old, and having a heck of a lot of success. He says your first $1 million should be direct to customer. He said if you want to build a brand, if you want to do all these little fancy things, you want to take 3 to 5 years to get to your client to really build a successful business, you go ahead and you follow those things. He was like, your first $1 million should be you grassroots right in front of your client. Right, so I listen to this, I'm like, oh my God, this is the things that God has been telling me to do, that I've been telling my coaching clients to do. And then turn around again, and this morning I'm scrolling through watching some videos, and this other guy says the same thing. It's like 3 or 4 different confirmations where you start hearing that there is specific things that you're going to be called to do in this season that's going in a complete opposite of everybody else. I say that not to say that everybody has to follow that route. I say it to say be discerning when you're building a business. Be discerning about where God is leading you. Be okay with going in the opposite direction of everybody else. Be okay with understanding that, hey, this is not working for me. I'm feeling led to give something a try, and you give it a try. You go ahead and you be willing to test it. You be willing to investigate it. You be willing to try it out. I have so many people that are trying to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, and that's called insanity. And so when you're getting to a place where you're saying, well, this is not working, and I'm not saying you switch everything up all the time. Sometimes you switch one or two things, you tweak it, and you get it to work. My whole point in saying this is getting clarity about what you're building, where you're going, and what that looks like for you. What does that experience, what is the experience that you want to create? What are the steps that you feel compelled to take that will create a transformational experience with what it is that you do? Stop trying to follow the trends in the crowd of the influencers, y'all. The greatest gift you can have in building a business is discernment. Spiritual discernment. God, where are you leading me, and what are you calling me to do in this season? And I know this is a rare conversation because most people might feel like, well, how do I know if I got discernment? Pray. Listen, pray. And let me tell you why. Because the way that the world is changing right now, when you talk about a recession, you cannot follow the crowd in the conversation. You cannot follow the crowd in the conversation. If you let the media begin to paint the picture for you, the world is falling apart. What you don't understand is there is an affluent audience that is ready to move some money around in this season to elevate their lives, to reposition themselves in this transition and in this transformation. You got to know how to tap in to these markets that are ready and hungry and have money available to invest in your solutions. You got to be able to get away from the crowd and the common conversations that are trying to discourage you in your efforts of building, and instead get connected to where God is leading you and calling you to be on post for who you're called to serve as this transition happens. And let me tell you why I say that. When the market collapsed in 2008, I went through a lot. I was a real estate agent, lost a lot of properties, did all this whole little story, bankrupt, broke, all that stuff. And I'll never forget, I got on the other side of that, started making a ton of money, and it's all this kind of where a great success story came, blah, 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 right? But I'll never forget, I heard God tell me, be prepared for the next recession, because you're going to be like Moses and lead a people through the next recession, right? There was something that God had told me to do in 2012. And it looked like it was too much work and that it would take too long, and so I didn't do it. What did I do? I stayed in my comfort zone and kept chasing money, and I kept doing deals that was making me money because I was at the height of wherever I was, and I reduced that demand from God leading me to build this thing. I just was dismissive of it, like, nah, it's gonna take too long, it's gonna be too much work, I'm doing good right now, I'm gonna stay right here. And let me tell y'all something, if I would have been obedient when that pandemic happened, it was exactly what everybody was looking for in that pandemic, and we probably could have had a $20-30 million company, right? My cousin, I watched her build her company to $50 million in the pandemic because she was obedient in 2018 to reposition herself, right? So my dismissiveness and lack of obedience led me to a missed and failed opportunity, right? And it's okay. But it's like, okay, God, I realize that a lot of times you're going to tell me to do things ahead of time in preparation for what's to come. And I got to learn how to get quiet enough to hear your voice, to be obedient and surrender and allow myself to get positioned and prepared for what is to come. That is where we need to be in this season. You have to get positioned and prepared for what's to come. Not in a negative way, but there is some real opportunities that are about to be presented to people that are prepared and positioned. But you can't follow the crowd. You got to have trust, you got to have faith, and you got to move boldly into these spaces because God is looking for leaders. Many are called and few are chosen. God is looking for the ones willing to be the chosen ones, to be able to step out on faith and boldly take action even when everybody else is telling you to do something different. And so what I know for sure is that in this current transition, that doors are going to be flung open for so many people that are able to be intuitively connected to God's lead and where he's leading you in your business and your life and in just the decisions that you need to make on a day-to-day basis. Does not mean you don't have mentors. but pray over the mentors that God plants in your life. Pray over the people that God connects you to. Pray over the relationships you build, the strategic partnerships that are created, the people that are going to be providing you with the resources, the finances, and whatever it is that you need. Pray. This is a season to move intently with purpose. Okay? This is a season to move intently with purpose. We're right here by the highway. But this is a season to move intently with purpose. So I want to encourage you guys. I saw Ty Lewis's post and I was like, oh my God, everybody. I had some of my friends here yesterday. They're also work with me in my business. And I said, we're going to print this out for everybody to read. Because one of the things that she said is your calling, your assignment is unique. You need to be seeking God for his strategies for what you are to be doing in this season for your business. So you can be able to quickly move when God says move, to quickly shift and pivot when it's time to pivot, to quickly be able to produce when God is telling you, hey, get this ready, do this, do that, and get it out there into the marketplace. I was telling my girlfriends, I said, you know, because I'm in Atlanta, and I'm in monk mode. Monk mode is when I'm shutting everything off and my head is down and I'm doing what I gotta do, right? So folks are like, oh my God, you in Atlanta, let's get together. Plus I went to Tuskegee. Tuskegee had their homecoming this weekend. All my friends are coming to town. They're like, yo, come on now, you need to come to home. And I'm like, you know what? I'm in a season of my life where I know I have this assignment that I gotta fulfill, that I just gotta be very protective about my time and head down. This is a season where I feel a pressing from God saying, get this done. Like, get things done, right? And so there's these times, guys, when God is going to be like, no, this is not the time to be out. You know, like there's conferences I wanted to go to and other things that I wanted to do. And I just feel God saying, sit down and complete this task. There's a reason why I have you doing these things. And so I want to encourage you guys in this season, you know, if I can say anything, I was just listening to a podcast. I love this podcast. It's called The Passionate Few. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to, every morning I get up at like 3 and 4 in the morning and I start listening. I'll pray and do my stuff, but I'll listen to Miles Monroe and I'll listen to different like preachers and different speakers and different podcasts and stuff like that. And so Passionate Few is an amazing podcast. And it was a guy, I forgot his name, Rodriguez, young 33-year-old guy, got 7 companies, makes 7 to 8 figures a year. He's a big investor in a flipper, and that's what he was talking about. He said he remembered praying to God and asking him like what steps he needed to take in his business and what moves he needed to make. And he was like, an infomercial came on and God was like, this is the move that you need to make. And he started getting into investing in properties, and lo and behold, just a lot of doors open for him. And now I think he does $30-something million a year or something like that. But he was just talking about focus and how he saw a lot of people, when he played professional baseball, a lot of people throw their talent away because they wanted to hang out and they wanted to goof off. He was like, when I come from an athlete's background where when I'm told to get something done, there is no compromise. He said, when I have a shoot day for my TikTok or my YouTube or whatever it is, he said, there is no canceling because I don't feel like it. It is a full-on commitment for what I'm building, and I'm going to show up by any means necessary. There is no other option. So that is where I am in the season of my life. It's like, no, this is what I'm called to do. There is no, let's go hang out and waste time. I have to commit my time to this assignment that I'm on right now, and I'm going to get that done. And most entrepreneurs, y'all, for whatever concepts of entrepreneurship that you guys are getting or what it takes to build a business, we have this visual that it's some fluffy, easy process that I got to do something 1 or 2 times and the money rolls in. And that's what the guy was talking about. He said, I don't do this for the money. I do it because it's the assignment that's on my life. It's what I was gifted to do. It's where I'm called. It's where I'm positioned. And so when I was talking earlier about your purpose is your way of being. It's who you are. It's who you be. It's what you do. It's how you show up. It's a combination of your experience, your expertise, your background. It's a combination of all those things. That means that I'm committed to what I'm building, whether I'm making all the money in the world or not. It's because it's who I am assigned to be and what it is that I am assigned to do. And so if you're at this point and stage in your life where you're like, man, I really want to create something bigger and better. I really want to take things to the next level. I really want to experience a whole new level of shift in my life, and I really want to see this produce something, then you got to go all in on that thing that God has called you to do. You got to ask yourself, what does that look like? What is the thing that God is telling me to focus on right now? How can I retrieve from all the noise and sit down and get focused to produce and build that thing? What is the specific things that God is saying to do? Who are the people that he is strategically connecting you with? I'm going here because there's a lot of noise on this rooftop out here, right? But what are the specific things that God is shifting you into and calling you to do? And where is he calling you to be? What does that look like? These are the things that is going to be required in this season. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I have been around for a long time, and I've seen a lot of different businesses come and go, a lot of people come and go, because they think that it's just about the money. No, the gift that you have, your expertise, your background, the different things that you just, your whole life flow, right? Whatever it is, whether you had a hard life in your background, or whether you had it easy, whether you've gone through years of investing in something, you still haven't seen the result, or whether you went all the way up to the top and you had a collapse and now you're trying to recover. It doesn't matter what your background is. All of that is in alignment with your purpose. All of that is what is designed for you to be who God has called you to be. All of that is connected to the vision and the path that God has mapped out for you. But the secret sauce of this, y'all, is you have got to turn the noise down. You have got to learn how to disconnect. You have got to learn how to stop comparing yourself to what you see online. You have got to learn how to speak life over your situation. You have got to learn to sit down and write that vision and make it plain. You have got to learn to spend time every single day visualizing where God is calling you and asking yourself, what is the demands that God has of me in this season, and what are the things that I need to do? Like I was telling some friends yesterday, I said, I know that even in this season, your health is important, right? Your health is important. So you have to have the energy for what God has called you to do. You can't be tired and fatigued all the time. So what do I eat? I eat a lot of healthy, clean eating foods for energy sources, right? You gotta walk, you gotta work out, you gotta do different things to get yourself anchored so that when God is shifting you to do something, you have the energy source to be able to get it done. Right? When God is telling you to focus, you have the willpower to say, no, I can't go hang out this weekend. I can't do this, I can't do that, because I am committed to where I'm at, to completing this task and focusing on getting things done. My prayer is, God, don't ever let me be enticed by the fear of missing out. Let me always be in alignment with where it is that you plan to me in this season. Let me always walk by faith and not by sight, and be in trust of you to know that the steps of a righteous man are ordered by you. That you've ordered my steps, that you've directed my paths, that you've planted me here for such a time as this, that you predestined me for where it is that I'm called to be. And so when you're building, whatever you're building, whatever God has given you the vision to build, go all in on that thing. That is your purpose, your divine alignment, your assignment, the thing that God has gifted you, planted you, and equipped you with, so that you can be able to give birth to that thing. Y'all, this is the season to birth it. Some amazing opportunities are about to open and come your way. And you have to be open and be ready to move forward, because I promise y'all, while everybody is listening to the media and being persuaded by the conversations, God is shifting some things behind the scenes and looking to see which one's gonna heed the call and step up to the plate to take advantage of all the opportunities that he's sending our way. So go look on my page. There's 2 posts that I encourage y'all to go and look at. One is from Ty Lewis, it's a repost. Y'all gotta go get that post that Ty Lewis posted, and what she said to do. She talks about following all these influencers and why people are depressed and lost and stressed out and dealing with imposter syndrome because you are following everybody else instead of following what God has called you to do. Go get that post from Ty Lewis and repost it, but cut that sucker out, get a screenshot and put it on your wall. I told my team, everybody needs to have this over their desk, right? And then the second thing I want you to do is look at the podcast with Bill Hauser and David Shands. It's on my page, and listen to that podcast. Get you a piece of paper. I ain't talking about taking notes on your phone. Write those notes down. Why? Because when you are writing with your hands while being able to see it with your eyes, there is a subconscious reprogramming that happens. So we got to get back to writing with our hands and being able to connect with the words, because it does something to your subconscious to begin to connect with the messaging so that you just don't hear it. But now you're connected to it, you can visualize it, and you're processing it internally in your brain and being able to connect with what it's saying as a reprogramming for how you need to show up. So those 2 things I want to encourage you guys to do and get on my page, okay? It's on my profile here on Facebook. And if you guys are looking to build a coaching, consulting, or high-level service-based business, I have my coaching program. You can learn more about working with me. If you feel like it's time to get your offer to the market, your skills and your expertise out into the world, and you're trying to figure out, what does this look like? How can I do it quickly? And how can I get away from all the complicated stuff that everybody else is teaching, right? Because I got a bunch of folks that have invested a lot of money in a lot of different things, and they still don't feel like they've made any progress because they don't know how to put all the missing pieces of the puzzle together. And so that's what we do. So you can DM me or comment below, but share this post. I gotta go catch a plane and head on up out of here of ATL. But I wanted to share this message with you guys while it was on my heart. So y'all have a great and awesome day, and I will talk to you soon. And you can join my list at 1toamillion.co to get on my about future events and things like that. All right, so gotta go. Y'all have a great and awesome day. See you guys later. Bye bye.